So Paul Krugman is a Nobel laureate on economics. I think he won the award in 2008 or so, and which is a funny year to win a Nobel Prize for economy. And he is known for telling people, "Hey, the economy's good. Stop complaining." You know, that's like his job. So he writes in the New York Times all the time about how the economy is great. Our GDP is a great factor and indicator for how good our economy is. And with this event that I interrupted was him. It was something called Perceptions of the Economy and Its Effect on the Elections. And the preamble by the moderator and the person who introduced the event was saying, you know, with all strong market indicators and, you know, the GDP is at an all-time high, why do people think the economy sucks when everything is great? And that was the thing. And so you start listening to them and, well, the S&P 500 went up a few points today, and it shows that people are living great. I don't know why people would be thinking the economy sucked.
But now who's that audience too?
Well,
yeah. Right. So is he preaching to basically his choir echo chamber people that's an audience that are sort of already too far gone to some extent. Like it doesn't, right? Like, I mean, who's buying that at this point other than the shareholders?
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. Well, we can show you since you are here and since we can comment on it. This is a couple of minutes long, but you know, what always strikes me, Jose, is not that Krugman is such a pompous ass. It's the crowd. It's the crowd that just kind of defines why certain people get elected to office.
And where is this, by the way?
This is at the CUNY Graduate Center, downtown Manhattan, like 32nd Street and Fifth Avenue. So, you know, it's a place for people who think they're intellectuals to go and give talks.
Well, let's cue it up. This is definitely going to be interesting, and Jose definitely brings the heat, but the reaction is really what defines the clip. So here we go.
Uh-oh, Nobel Prize-winning economist here to tell us how great the economy is. I certainly wonder how the residents of Asheville, North Carolina must be feeling right now with no access to power or water or communication with the outside world. I wonder how enthusiastic they are about the economy right now. I wonder how...
So, Jen, would you please describe for the audience who this old gentleman is that decided to get in Jose's face?
I don't know. Who is that? Who is that?
Nobody. Just a real...
Oh, just one of those guys. Stop!
Why are you doing this? Why are you even here? Getting in everybody's... Why are you interrupting our private party?
Oh, my God.
Because that's what it is for them. This isn't about public discourse. This is about private reaffirmation.
Well, looks like a very bougie kind of event.
It was. The people around me were all over 65. And I felt kind of bad because when I walked in, they gave me a card and said, if you want your question heard, write your question on a card. And I asked, can I have a pen? And they said no, because they didn't have any. They said, just ask someone in the audience for a pen. And I mean, everybody had a pen. I asked the people to my left, do you have a pen? And everyone started pulling out a pen. So I was very happy that, you know, hey, everyone had a pen, I guess. And they were really like nice people. They were cracking jokes and stuff. And I felt bad, almost like, oh no, you know, they're really nice people, you know, but hey, I got to do what I got to do. Right. So,
yeah, but you see, these same people are the same people that would be sitting in front of an audience in an audience where they would be cheering on Israel and Ukraine as well.
Oh,
so it's the same people. So the fact that you interrupted it based on an economic position, it would be the same. This guy, if you stood up and said something about free Palestine, this same guy would get like it's the same people. That's what I think. So it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
We'll keep going.
Enthusiastic the residents of the South Bronx must be feeling about the economy. Hey, maybe North Carolina should rename itself Israel so it'll get $20 billion in aid. Or maybe Ukraine so it can get $300 billion in aid. Maybe the South Bronx should do the same thing. I mean, I'm sure the economy is great for smug liberals like yourself who make $5 million and are worth $5 million. I'm sure the economy must be great for all you smug journalists, economists. All of you must be having a great time with the economy when most people can't even pay for basic necessities, for people who are getting evicted because they can't pay their rent. Because over in the South Bronx, just a few miles away from here, there are portions of buildings that are literally collapsing. And I'm supposed to give a shit about the stock market? You want to know why the presidential election is tied right now? Because our money is being sent to Israel and Ukraine so that they can continue to bomb innocent women and children. You think that's a great economy? I'm sure Israel, with their free healthcare, is having a great time with American taxpayer money.
What I always find interesting is, on the one hand, they're pretending not to listen, but you know they hear every word.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the sad part is that they actually do think that they're entitled to live in this sort of privileged enclave, and everyone else basically has to suffer. That's why no one ever speaks up. No one ever has this epiphany. It's this, oh, I like my tickets to the Met, and I like having my dinners on the Upper West Side, and I like going to the fancy parties.
There's also a very strong possibility that none of these people watch actual news. These people probably watch mainstream stenographer propaganda. These people, so you're assuming that, and they don't want to know more than that.
I agree with that.
It isn't that they know there's people. They don't want to know. They're annoyed that you're disrupting the event. They don't care. The content is not relevant to them. They're just annoyed that you're disrupting them. That's what I think.
Yeah, no, well, and what you can't really hear is because the audio, which is just my phone, did a pretty good job at kind of picking up my voice and isolating out the boos, although they still come through, is that I knew walking in there I was going to have a lot of time because the only security guard was the guy sitting in the front desk.
Right.
And so, there was no security in the room, and the room was kind of small, and they were also all old. I hate to put it that way, but that's just true. And so after the first, whenever I do these things, I know I'm going to get booed. So my goal is to just ignore the boos. I know whoever I'm speaking to is going to hear this afterwards on social media, assuming it goes viral. And this one did, but they got tired of booing me maybe about 20 to 30 seconds in. So at that point, they're kind of just you can hear the boos come in waves. And when I said, maybe North Carolina should rename itself Israel so it'll get $20 billion in aid, then the boos started again. So it's okay, so they are hearing what I'm saying. They are listening to me. And it was pretty I just had fun with it on that one. And I know they were hearing me. I know they were listening to me. Because I think some guy at the end, and maybe you can hear it in the audio, maybe you can't, was well, thanks, man, or something like that. And anyway, yeah,
raining on their parade of their mirage, their image that they had of the government, of the economy right now. They thought it was all good. It's looking good.
I mean, look, you may be sitting in a room full of AIPAC donors. Got to remember that as well. That's also,
exactly.
A lot of them have, listen.
That's what I said. There's a crossover crowd. The same people the people that concern themselves with the stock market there's a big crossover with them and the Zionists. That's all I'm saying. Some
AIPAC donors.
I do know AIPAC donors.
And they're regular Tom, Dick, and Harry's, people sitting in that audience, only they give a hell of a lot of money.
They give
a lot of money. All right, let's finish it up.
Hey, is anyone here going to talk about the fact that we could be in war with Iran in a few days? Or do we need to focus on the S&P 500? Is that what actually matters? The S&P 500? When most people...
Did he finally put his hands on you? Is that why?
Did he touch you?
Like that?
That was actually our friend Fred who put his hand, the guy in front of me, the old guy. Yeah, I call him Fred because his shirt says
Fred.
Yeah, so when I said, or do we need to worry about the S&P 500? I guess that really pissed him off because he just swiped at my phone. Wow. And I actually know why that pissed him off. It's because I looked up what Fred is, and Fred is the Financial Reserve something data.
Oh.
That's the Federal Reserve something data, right? So this guy is wearing a shirt of a data company that monitors stocks in the Federal Reserve. Okay, So this guy is like a S&P 500 mega fan. Okay, so of course, yeah.
See, to me, this
Yeah.
is actually it's interesting because we went to a Trump rally a few years back, and it wasn't what I thought it would be. Like, you have this image that it's going to be all like rednecks and Dixie flags and all that, and there was some of that. But I got to tell you, this right here, this room, that panel, the way that douche is sitting with his leg crossed while you're standing here saying this whole scene right here is so much more disgusting to me than the Trump rally freak show fringe people that I saw. And I like, seriously, these people are the problem.
Well, the problem with this particular crowd, more than anything else, as I always try to point out, is this is the crowd that cheers on war the loudest.
Oh,
And they're also the people who would never lift a finger to defend a nation. They are the upper class liberals that we have always been warned about, or as Malcolm would always say, is the white moderate. This is that crowd. This is that group of people
totally.
who are very content with the status quo. In fact, they're willing to go wherever the status quo tells them to go. And if that means war with Iran, among other things, then they will go with it because they do not want any disruption in their privileged little lives.